This is Boomer Life on CL650.
You got to know when to hold up, know when to fold up.
Welcome to Boomer Life on CL650. I'm Joanne Sutton, and today we're speaking with Jim Doyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group Financial Services. And we're speaking to the benefit of taking the time to review your finances together as a couple. And of course, we're making the reference to when it comes to holiday shopping. So Jim, I think we all have some certain expectations that we don't even realize that we have, and understanding why you don't see eye to eye and having a plan to hit your goals is very important. It's encouraging to hear from a professional that even if you and your significant other have totally different spending habits, that you can actually learn to compromise, reduce financial conflict, and take steps to ensure some level of financial harmony, because we all know money can be a very touchy subject to talk about.
Listen, I can't say this often enough, but good communication is a cornerstone of a healthy, thriving relationship. Better financial communication helps create a more open dialogue about non-money issues as well. When it comes to couples and their spending habits, there can be a few landmines that typically only surface at this time of year. And I'm talking about different money personalities, spenders or savers. Spending decisions can be difficult at this time of year. How much you spend, who you buy for, there's a lot tied up in that.
There is a lot. So let's have that conversation. What do you recommend?
Although you and your spouse could have different spending habits, you can reduce the money conflict by learning to compromise and take some other steps to ensure that your financial harmony is part of the process. A great place to start can be learning to accept each other's financial personalities. And keep in mind that transparency around buying decisions is always a good idea. Don't keep money secrets and be open about each other's cash flow. Together, you're establishing a reasonable budget that both of you can live with and agree to stick with during the holidays. Otherwise, you'll look up later in the new year and you'll find a whole slew of additional purchases that were made that maybe fell outside of the budget.
It's hard not to point fingers and play the blame game with your spouse when you're reading the bottom line of your credit card statements.
If I can, I'd like to suggest to couples, don't start from the position that you must change the habits of your spouse. Even if your spouse loves to play Santa and buy gifts for virtually all of your friends and family, or he or she may tend to be Scrooge-like and bristle at the thought of spending more than $25 on any one gift, it's important to understand that these habits can be impacted in a positive way when the conversation is handled with sensitivity. Whatever the case, this is likely an intrinsic part of who they are, and don't start from the position that we need to change the other person. A good place to start understanding each other could be through making a realistic budget together.
So if couples aren't great talking to each other about money, this sounds like it could be a really tall order. So what sorts of things do you talk to couples about to try to make this a little bit easier on them?
Maybe start by finding the things that both can agree on about money, or maybe how they both feel about debt. It doesn't have to be perfect from the start, but I think there are big benefits from devoting regular time together, reviewing your finances together, and creating a realistic budget for the holidays on the basis of your spending habits. One thing I often see is allowing one person to shoulder the responsibility or the sole responsibility of making a budget for the holidays. And I think that's asking for trouble when two individuals have completely different views about money and different financial practices.
I think you've made an excellent observation there, because it happens in our household. One sets the budget and the other follows the rules. And I know it's common with a lot of friends. So where would the right conversation start?
Well, in my opinion, as a couple starts figuring out their own combined money management and budget issues, one person can take on the sole responsibility of tracking the budget. That's going to be okay once people have decided their roles and responsibilities. But I still want the other partner checking in occasionally. Early on, I want to discourage just one person taking all of it on. In my practice, I work with a number of folks who on their second or third marriages, and it's not uncommon for them to unknowingly bring, their learned patterns and habits from their prior relationships into the new relationships, without recognizing that they're actually in brand new territory.
So why would this be a concern?
Well, we're now bridging multiple families, blended families, and more than one set of traditions that come into play in addition to competing agendas. There's a number of underlying concerns that could add fuel to fiery family dynamics.
Well, to me, sometimes it's a lot to do with expectations, or maybe even that impression of keeping up with the Joneses. But I can actually see why something as simple as a Christmas budget could actually be a serious challenge.
With a very high number of marriages these days ending due to conflict around money issues, I think that's why it's important for couples to have good communication around money matters. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would.
Remember, a lot of these issues are pretty sensitive, and they take work to address. Otherwise, they end up festering over a period of time.
So, Jim, I know that show after show you keep telling us that investment selection it's uber important. But we're missing out because it's just as important to look at the roots of your goals and how you actually make the decisions. That's all equally important. And I think I get a sense of why now that we talk about these types of things.
You know, when you combine things like money personalities and family dynamics and how you communicate with your partner around money issues, that's where this budget stuff can be a loaded conversation.
And it's not just about what you see on the surface. If you dig a little bit deeper and really get to know the family, I think this is where advisors like you can really add value to these families. So when it comes to the added value equation, what happens if no budget is made for the holidays?
Well, let's hope that's not the case, right? When it comes to your holiday budget, set spending measures and limits. Both of you should keep tabs on the overall spending during the holiday season, especially if one has a tendency towards impulse shopping.
So if you're setting the budget together, does it actually help if you shop together as a couple?
Definitely. Shopping together as a couple can help keep the accountability factor in check and reduce the number of impulse buys. This is another reason why it's useful to make a gift list to avoid random purchases appearing in your shopping basket. Keep in mind, it could be definitely benefiting your pocketbook to devote some time to comparison shopping and researching prior to you heading out to the shops. By planning it ahead, it allows you to feel confident that you're making the best decisions about the gifts that you're going to buy.
It's all about having that conversation, really, and making a plan. Comparison shopping, Jim, it can't be beat. Nothing hurts more than making a purchase and then finding the same item at another location at half the price. It makes me crazy. And I know that my husband and I definitely keep each other on track to make more rational purchasing decisions when we actually shop together. Might cause for a bit of a bicker in the store, but, this is all a great segue into developing further healthy financial habits for next year, for 2016. You're listening to Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Today, we've been speaking with Jim Doyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group. If you'd like to learn more about Jim and how he helps financially comfortable Canadians, it can be as easy as giving him a phone call, 604-682-5431. Now, coming up, we're going to be looking at some actionable ways to successfully alleviate and manage financial stress. And remember, those who manage money stress most effectively, they don't do it alone. That's all coming up next with Jim Doyle on Boomer Life on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.